This week, Capricorn, one single decision stands between you and a future that finally feels secure. And the truth is, most people never make it because they do not realize the moment is right in front of them. What you are about to hear is not just another set of predictions or vague promises. This is a focus guide designed to help you see what is coming, prepare for it, and make the kind of move that locks in protection for the months and years ahead. The stars are aligning in a way that puts you at a crossroads, and the beautiful thing is, you already have everything you need to choose wisely. You just need to see it clearly. This is not about fear. This is not about rushing. This is about recognizing that certain windows open only once, and this week, one of those windows is wide open for you. Whether it involves your finances, your health, or a commitment you have been putting off. The energy around you right now is practically begging you to step forward. The decision itself is not complicated. What makes it powerful is the timing. And the timing, Capricorn, is now. So stay with me through every section of this message because each piece builds on the last, and by the end you will know exactly what to do. Let us begin. Tip 1. The foundation is readiness, not perfection. There is a quiet myth that has been holding so many Capricorns back, and it sounds something like this. I will make the move when everything is perfectly in place. You have probably heard yourself say this at some point. Maybe not in those exact words, but the feeling is familiar. You wait until the bank account looks a certain way. You wait until the relationship feels a certain way. You wait until you feel 100% confident. And here is the problem with that approach, especially this week. Perfection is not coming. It never was. What is coming instead is something far more valuable, and that is readiness. Readiness does not mean you have all the answers. It means you have enough clarity to take the next step without needing to see the entire staircase. And this week, the planetary energy around your sign is flooding you with exactly that kind of clarity. You may have already noticed it. A strange sense of calm when you think about a particular decision. A feeling that you have been circling around something long enough, and now it is time to land. That is not anxiety. That is not impulsiveness. That is readiness showing up in your body and your mind at the same time. And when those two things align, Capricorn, you become unstoppable. Think about the moments in your life when you made your best decisions. Were you in a state of total perfection? Probably not. You were probably a little scared, a little uncertain, but deeply aware that waiting any longer would cost you more than moving forward. That is exactly where you are right now. The stars are not asking you to be perfect. They are asking you to be present. They are asking you to look at your life this week with honest eyes and say, what is the one thing I have been avoiding that, if I addressed it now, would change everything? Maybe it is a financial decision you have been postponing. Maybe it is a conversation you need to have with someone close to you. Maybe it is a health appointment you keep rescheduling or a boundary you need to set at work. Whatever it is, you already know what it is. You have known for weeks, maybe months. The difference now is that the universe is giving you a tailwind. The resistance you have felt before. It is softer this week. The obstacles that seemed immovable. They are shifting. Not because magic happened overnight, but because you have been quietly preparing without even realizing it. Every experience you have had up to this point has been building the foundation for this moment. So let go of the idea that you need to be perfect before you act. Perfection is a trap disguised as wisdom. Readiness, on the other hand, is true wisdom in action. And you, Capricorn, are ready. The only question now is whether you will trust that readiness or let another week slip by while you wait for conditions that will never arrive. Choose readiness. Choose now, and watch how the universe responds when you do. Because what comes next is going to show you exactly why this week is different from all the others. Tip 2. Small commitments create massive momentum. Here is something that most people misunderstand about big life changes, and it is especially important for you to hear this week, Capricorn. They think transformation requires a single dramatic leap. They picture themselves standing on the edge of a cliff, gathering the courage to jump, and then everything changes in midair. But that is not how real, lasting change works. Real change, the kind that actually sticks, is built through small, consistent commitments that stack on top of each other until one day you look back and realize you have traveled an incredible distance. This week, the energy around your sign is perfectly suited for this kind of building. You do not need to overhaul your entire life by next weekend. You do not need to quit something cold, start something massive, or make a grand announcement to everyone around you. What you need to do is make one small commitment today, and then honor it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Because momentum, Capricorn, is not about speed. It is about consistency. It is about showing up for yourself in small ways that prove to your own mind that you are serious this time. Think about water carving through stone. It does not happen in one powerful blast. It happens drop by drop, day after day, year after year, until the stone itself has been reshaped. Your life works the same way. The decision that protects your future is not necessarily one massive choice. It might be a series of small, quiet choices made with intention and followed through with discipline. And discipline, as you already know, is one of your greatest natural gifts. You were born with the ability to commit and follow through. The challenge for you has never been a lack of discipline. It has been knowing where to direct it. This week gives you that direction. Pay attention to where your thoughts keep returning. Notice the area of your life that keeps tugging at your attention, the one you try to push aside but it keeps coming back. That persistent pull is not a distraction. It is a signal. It is telling you exactly where your small commitments need to go. Maybe it is spending 15 minutes each morning reviewing your finances. Maybe it is walking for 20 minutes each evening to clear your head and strengthen your body. Maybe it is writing down one thing you are grateful for before you go to sleep. These seem small. They seem insignificant, but they are not. They are the seeds of something enormous. When you make a small commitment and keep it, something shifts inside you. Your self-trust grows. Your confidence deepens. And most importantly, your belief in your own ability to change expands. That belief is the most powerful force in your life right now. More powerful than any planetary alignment. More powerful than any external circumstance. Because when you believe you can change, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. Doors that looked closed suddenly have handles. Paths that seemed blocked suddenly have openings. And it all started with one small commitment honored one day at a time. So do not underestimate the power of starting small this week. Do not fall into the trap of thinking that if the action is not dramatic, it does not count. Every single step counts. Every single choice matters. And the momentum you build this week through small, consistent commitments will carry you further than any grand gesture ever could. Trust the process. Trust the small steps. And trust yourself enough to begin. Because what I am about to share with you next will show you exactly where this momentum needs to be directed. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. Protect your energy before you protect anything else. Capricorn, let me ask you something honest. How much of your energy this past month has gone toward other people's problems, other people's emotions, other people's expectations? If you are being truthful with yourself, the answer is probably a lot. And I am not saying that is wrong. Your natural instinct to care for others, to be the strong one, to hold things together when everyone else is falling apart. That is one of the most beautiful things about you. But this week, the universe is sending you a very clear message. You cannot protect your future if you are running on empty. You cannot make wise decisions from a place of exhaustion. And you cannot pour from a cup that has been drained dry. Energy protection is not selfish. I want you to really hear that. It is not selfish to say no. It is not selfish to step back from a situation that drains you. It is not selfish to close your door, turn off your phone, and spend an evening doing absolutely nothing. In fact, this week, those acts of self-preservation are some of the most important things you can do. Because the decision that protects your future, the one this entire message is about, requires you to be clear-headed, grounded, and fully present. And you cannot be any of those things if you are scattered across everyone else's needs. Pay attention to who and what drains you this week. Not in a judgmental way, but in an observational way. Notice how you feel after certain conversations. Notice how your body responds when you walk into certain environments. Notice which commitments fill you up and which ones hollow you out. This awareness is not about cutting people off or burning bridges. It is about making conscious choices about where your energy goes instead of letting it leak out in every direction without your permission. There is a concept that many wise people have understood throughout history, and it goes something like this. The quality of your decisions is directly proportional to the quality of your energy when you make them. Think about the worst decisions you have ever made. Were you rested, calm, and clear when you made them? Probably not. You were probably tired, stressed, overwhelmed, or pressured by someone else's timeline. Now think about your best decisions. You were likely calm. You were likely centered. You had the space to think clearly and the energy to trust your instincts. That is the state you need to be in this week, and protecting your energy is how you get there. Here is a practical way to think about it. Imagine your energy is like a bank account. Every interaction, every commitment, every thought pattern either deposits into that account or withdraws from it. This week, you need to be very intentional about maintaining a positive balance. That means saying yes to things that nourish you and no to things that deplete you, even if those things have always been part of your routine. Routines can be changed. Habits can be adjusted. But your energy, once spent, takes time to replenish. And you do not have time to waste this week. So before you worry about protecting your finances, your relationships, or your plans, protect your energy first. Everything else flows from that. When your energy is strong, your instincts are sharp. When your instincts are sharp, your decisions are wise. And when your decisions are wise, your future is secure. It really is that simple, even if it does not always feel that way. Start there. Start with your energy, and what comes next will show you how to channel that protected energy into the area of your life that needs it most. Tip 4. The conversation you are avoiding is the key. There is a conversation you have been putting off, Capricorn. You know exactly which one I am talking about. It might be with a family member. It might be with a partner. It might be with someone you work with or someone you used to be close to. It might even be a conversation you need to have with yourself. An honest, uncomfortable, no excuses dialogue about where you are and where you want to be. Whatever it is, this week is the week to have it. Not next week. Not when you feel more prepared. Not when the other person seems to be in a better mood. Now, I know that sounds intense, and I want to explain why the timing matters so much. The planetary energy this week is creating a unique window for honest communication. There is a softness in the air that makes difficult conversations easier to navigate. The kind of defensiveness that usually shows up when tough topics are raised. It is diminished right now, both for you and for the people around you. This does not mean the conversation will be effortless. It means the ground is more fertile for truth. And truth, Capricorn, is always the foundation of protection. You cannot protect what you are unwilling to be honest about. Think about it this way. Every conversation you avoid becomes a weight you carry, and those weights accumulate over time. What starts as a small, manageable discomfort eventually becomes a heavy burden that affects your sleep, your mood, your health, and your ability to make clear decisions. By the time most people finally have the conversation they have been avoiding, the weight has grown so heavy that the conversation itself becomes harder than it ever needed to be. But this week, you have the chance to address things while they are still manageable, while the weight is still light enough to lift. Here is what I want you to understand about difficult conversations. They are not about winning. They are not about being right. They are about being real. When you approach a conversation with the intention of being genuine, rather than being correct, something magical happens. The other person feels your sincerity. Their walls come down. And suddenly, what you expected to be a battle becomes a bridge. This is especially true for you this week, because the energy around your sign is enhancing your natural ability to communicate with authority and warmth at the same time. You can be firm without being harsh. You can be honest without being hurtful. And you can be vulnerable without being weak. If the conversation is with yourself, the same principles apply. Sit down somewhere quiet. Turn off all distractions. And ask yourself the question you have been avoiding. Maybe it is, am I happy with where my life is going? Maybe it is, what am I pretending not to know? Maybe it is, what would I do differently if I were not afraid? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary questions. And your willingness to face them this week is part of what makes this moment so powerful for your future. The decision that protects your future often lives on the other side of a conversation. It hides behind the words you have not yet spoken, the truths you have not yet acknowledged, the feelings you have not yet expressed. This week, speak them, acknowledge them, express them, not recklessly but courageously. There is a difference between reckless honesty and courageous honesty. Reckless honesty does not care about impact. Courageous honesty cares deeply about impact, but refuses to let fear silence the truth. Be courageous this week, Capricorn. Have the conversation. And then, get ready for what opens up, because the next piece of guidance will show you how to handle what comes after. Tip 5. Financial awareness is your shield this week. Let me talk about something that many people avoid discussing openly, and that is money. Not in a complicated, overwhelming way, but in a simple, grounded, practical way. Because this week, Capricorn, your financial awareness is one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your future. And I am not talking about making huge investment decisions or overhauling your entire financial life overnight. I am talking about something much more fundamental. I am talking about paying attention. Most people have a vague sense of where their money goes. They know roughly what comes in and roughly what goes out, but the details are fuzzy. And it is in those fuzzy details that financial danger hides. A subscription you forgot about, a recurring charge you never use, a spending habit that feels small in the moment but adds up to something significant over the course of a year. This week, the stars are encouraging you to sharpen those details, to sit down even for just 30 minutes and look at where your money has actually been going. Not where you think it has been going, where it has actually been going. This is not about guilt. Please hear me on that. This is not about beating yourself up for past spending or feeling ashamed of your financial situation, whatever it may be. This is about awareness. Pure, simple, non-judgmental awareness. Because awareness is the first step toward change, and change is the first step toward protection. When you know exactly where you stand financially, you can make decisions from a place of power instead of a place of anxiety. And decisions made from power are always better than decisions made from fear. Here is something that many Capricorns do not realize about themselves. You are naturally gifted with money, not because you are greedy or materialistic, but because you understand the value of security. You understand that financial stability is not about luxury. It is about freedom. It is about having choices. It is about being able to say no to things that do not serve you because you are not dependent on them. And this week, that natural gift is being activated in a powerful way. The energy around your sign is heightening your financial instincts, making it easier for you to see patterns, spot opportunities, and identify risks that you might normally overlook. But here is the key. Those instincts only work if you give them something to work with. If you are ignoring your financial reality, your instincts have nothing to sharpen against. It is like having a powerful flashlight but keeping it turned off. This week, turn it on. Look at your bank statements. Review your bills. Check the terms on any agreements you have signed recently. Make sure you understand what is coming in and what is going out. And if you find something that does not look right, address it immediately. Do not put it off. Do not tell yourself you will deal with it later. The protection this week offers is tied to immediate action, not future intentions. One more thing about money this week. Be cautious about any financial opportunity that seems too good to be true. The same energy that is sharpening your instincts is also testing them. There may be an offer, a deal, or a proposition that looks attractive on the surface but has hidden costs underneath. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Your intuition around money is remarkably accurate when you actually listen to it. So listen to it this week. Let it guide you. Let it protect you. And let it lead you into the next area of focus, which is just as important as your finances and deeply connected to them. Tip 6. Your body is sending you messages. Listen. This week, Capricorn, your body is trying to tell you something. And if you have been too busy, too stressed, or too focused on everything else to listen, now is the time to start. Because your physical health is not separate from your future. It is the foundation of your future. Every plan you make, every goal you set, every dream you hold depends on your body being strong enough to carry you there. And this week, the universe is putting a spotlight on the connection between how you treat your body and how secure your future will be. I am not talking about anything extreme. I am not suggesting you need to start a grueling exercise routine or completely change what you eat by tomorrow morning. What I am suggesting is that you start paying attention, really paying attention, to the signals your body has been sending you, that stiffness in your back that you have been ignoring, that fatigue that hits you every afternoon, that tension in your shoulders that never quite goes away. Those are not just inconveniences, they are messages. And this week, those messages are louder than usual. Your body, Capricorn, is an incredibly intelligent system. It knows when something is wrong long before your conscious mind catches up. It sends signals through pain, through fatigue, through restlessness, through cravings, through sleeplessness. And when you ignore those signals, they do not go away. They get louder. They escalate. What starts as a whisper becomes a shout, and what starts as a shout becomes a crisis. This week, you have the opportunity to respond to the whisper before it becomes anything more. And that response, that simple act of listening and acting, is one of the most powerful forms of protection available to you. Think about the people you know who seem to have the most energy, the most clarity, the most joy in their daily lives. What do they have in common? They listen to their bodies. They rest when they are tired. They move when they feel stagnant. They eat in a way that nourishes rather than punishes. They do not treat their bodies as machines to be pushed until they break. They treat their bodies as partners to be respected and cared for. And this week, you are being called to adopt that same approach. Here is a simple practice for this week. Each morning before you get out of bed, take 60 seconds to check in with your body. Start at the top of your head and slowly move your attention down. Notice where you feel tension. Notice where you feel ease. Notice what hurts and what feels strong. This is not meditation. This is not some complicated ritual. It is just awareness. 60 seconds of awareness that can change the entire trajectory of your day. Because when you start your day connected to your body, you make better choices throughout the day. You eat better. You move more. You rest when you need to. And you avoid the kind of burnout that leads to poor decisions in every other area of your life. This is especially important this week, because the decision that protects your future requires you to be physically grounded. You cannot make wise, long-term choices when your body is screaming for attention. You cannot think clearly when you are exhausted. You cannot trust your instincts when your nervous system is overwhelmed. So take care of your body this week, Capricorn, not as an afterthought, not as something you will get to when everything else is done, as a priority, as the first thing. Because everything else you build this week will stand on the foundation of how you feel in your own skin. And what comes next will show you why that foundation matters even more than you think. Tip 7. Release the need to control every outcome. Capricorn, I know this one is going to be hard to hear, but you need to hear it. This week, you need to let go of your need to control every single outcome. I know that goes against every fiber of your being. You are a planner. You are a strategist. You are someone who feels safest when you can see exactly where everything is headed and how everything will turn out. And in many situations, that quality serves you incredibly well. But this week, it is actually getting in your way. Because the decision that protects your future, the one we have been building toward, requires a kind of trust that control does not allow. Let me explain what I mean. When you try to control every outcome, you are essentially telling the universe, I do not trust you to handle this. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds by saying, okay, if you want to handle everything yourself, go ahead. And then you are left carrying the weight of every possibility, every scenario, every what, all on your own shoulders. That is exhausting, Capricorn, and it is unnecessary. Because the truth is, some of the best things that have ever happened to you came from situations you did not plan. They came from unexpected turns, surprise opportunities, and moments that were completely outside your control. This does not mean you should stop planning altogether. Planning is one of your superpowers, and I would never ask you to abandon it. What I am asking you to do this week is to plan with open hands instead of clenched fists. Make your plans. Set your intentions. Take your steps. But then, let go of how it all turns out. Trust that if you have done your part, the rest will unfold as it should. Trust that the universe has a bigger picture than the one you can see from where you are standing. Trust that sometimes the best protection is not control but surrender. I know the word surrender makes you uncomfortable. Sounds like giving up. Sounds like weakness. But real surrender has nothing to do with weakness. Real surrender is one of the strongest things a person can do. It takes immense courage to say, I have done everything I can, and now I am going to trust the process. It takes immense faith to release your grip on an outcome and believe that whatever happens will ultimately serve your highest good. And this week, that faith is being tested and strengthened at the same time. Here is a practical way to work with this energy. Identify one area of your life where you have been gripping too tightly. Maybe it is a relationship where you have been trying to control the other person's behavior. Maybe it is a work situation where you have been micromanaging every detail. Maybe it is a health concern where you have been obsessively researching and worrying instead of simply doing what you can and letting go. Whatever it is, consciously loosen your grip this week. Not all at once, just a little. Just enough to let some air in. Just enough to let the universe show you that it is working on your behalf, even when you cannot see it. The paradox of control is that the more you try to hold on, the less secure you actually feel. Because deep down, you know you cannot control everything. And that knowledge creates a constant undercurrent of anxiety that undermines everything you are trying to build. But when you release the need to control and replace it with trust, something shifts. The anxiety dissolves. The tension in your body softens. Your mind clears. And from that place of clarity and trust, you are able to see the path forward more clearly than you ever could through the lens of control. This week, let go a little, Capricorn, and watch how much more comes to you when your hands are open to receive it. Because the next insight is going to require exactly this kind of openness. Tip 8. Strengthen the relationships that strengthen you. Capricorn, you have a tendency to go it alone. You are so capable, so self-reliant, so accustomed to being the one everyone else depends on, that you sometimes forget you are allowed to lean on people too. This week, the universe is reminding you of something important. Your future is not something you build in isolation. It is something you build in connection. And the relationships you invest in this week will have a direct impact on how protected and supported you feel in the months ahead. I am not talking about superficial connections. I am not talking about adding more people to your social circle or forcing yourself to be more outgoing. I am talking about going deeper with the people who already matter to you, the people who have been there, the people who have seen you at your worst and stayed anyway, the people who challenge you to grow and celebrate you when you do. Those relationships are not just nice to have. They are essential infrastructure for your future. And this week, they need your attention. Think about a bridge. A bridge is only as strong as its supports. You can have the most beautiful, impressive bridge in the world, but if the supports beneath it are neglected, the whole thing eventually collapses. Your relationships are those supports. And if you have been so focused on building the bridge of your career, your finances, your goals, that you have neglected the supports beneath it, this week is your chance to reinforce them before anything starts to crack. This might look like reaching out to someone you have not talked to in a while. Not because you need something from them, but because you value them and you want them to know it. It might look like sitting down with your partner or a close family member and having a real conversation. Not about logistics or schedules, but about feelings, dreams, fears, and hopes. It might look like simply being more present with the people around you this week. Putting down your phone during meals. Making eye contact during conversations. Asking questions and actually listening to the answers. Here is something profound that many people do not realize until it is too late. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. Not your income, not your achievements, not your possessions, your relationships. Study after study has shown that the people who live the longest, healthiest, most fulfilling lives are the people who have strong, meaningful connections with others. And you, Capricorn, have the ability to build those connections. You just need to prioritize them as much as you prioritize everything else. This week is also a good time to evaluate which relationships might need some boundaries. Not every connection in your life is healthy, and not every person who has access to you deserves that access. Protection sometimes means creating distance from people who drain you, manipulate you, or consistently disrespect your boundaries. That is not being cold. That is being wise. And this week, you have the clarity to see which relationships nourish you and which ones do not. Trust that clarity, act on it, and know that every relationship you strengthen and every boundary you set is a brick in the wall that protects your future. The people in your life are not accessories to your journey. They are essential parts of it. Invest in them this week. Show up for them. Let them show up for you. And remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. Because what I am about to share next will show you how these strengthened connections play into the bigger picture of what this week holds for you. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Tip 9. Clarity comes from stillness, not from searching. Capricorn, you are a natural problem solver. When something feels unclear, your first instinct is to search for the answer. You read, you research, you analyze, you ask questions. You gather information from every possible source until you feel like you have enough data to make a decision. And most of the time, that approach works beautifully. But this week is different. This week, the clarity you are looking for will not come from searching harder. It will come from being still. I know that sounds counterintuitive, especially for someone like you who thrives on action and analysis. But think about it this way. Have you ever been so deep in thought about a problem that you could not see the solution, and then you went for a walk, took a shower, or lay down to rest, and suddenly the answer appeared out of nowhere? That is not a coincidence. That is how your deeper intelligence works. It needs space. It needs silence. It needs you to stop looking so hard so it can show you what has been right in front of you all along. This week, the planetary energy around your sign is amplifying your intuitive channels. Your gut feelings are sharper. Your instincts are more reliable. Your inner knowing is trying to break through the noise of your analytical mind. But it can only do that if you give it room. And room means stillness. Even if it is just 10 minutes a day. Even if it is just sitting quietly with your morning coffee before you check your messages. Even if it is just closing your eyes for a moment in the middle of a busy afternoon and letting your mind go blank. That is where the clarity lives. In the space between thoughts. In the pause between breaths. In the quiet underneath all the noise. Many people confuse stillness with laziness, and I want to be very clear that they are not the same thing. Laziness is avoidance. Stillness is engagement. When you are still, you are not doing nothing. You are doing something profoundly important. You are creating the conditions for your deepest wisdom to surface. You are giving your nervous system a chance to reset. You are allowing your subconscious mind to process all the information it has been taking in and organize it into something useful. Stillness is not passive. It is one of the most active and productive things you can do, especially during a week like this. Here is what I want you to try. At some point this week, find a place where you can sit without interruption for at least 15 minutes. Does not matter where. Could be a room in your home. Could be a bench in a park. It could be your car parked somewhere quiet. Sit down, close your eyes, and instead of trying to think about your problems or search for answers, just breathe. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them. Let your body relax without forcing it. And pay attention to what arises naturally. Not the loud, anxious thoughts that usually dominate your mind. The quieter ones underneath. The whispers. The nudges. The feelings that do not have words yet but carry a knowing that your logical mind cannot access. This is where the decision that protects your future will become clear. Not in a spreadsheet. Not in a pros and cons list. Not in someone else's advice. In the stillness of your own awareness. You already know what you need to do, Capricorn. You have known for a while. The problem is that you have been so busy searching for confirmation that you have not stopped long enough to hear your own answer. This week, stop searching. Start listening. And trust that the clarity that comes from stillness is the most reliable kind of clarity there is. Because the next section will show you exactly how to act on that clarity once it arrives. Tip 10. Commit to the decision and do not look back. We have arrived at the heart of everything this week is about, Capricorn. The decision. The one that protects your future. The one that this entire message has been building toward. And now that you are here, now that you have prepared yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, it is time to commit. Not halfway, not tentatively, not with one foot in and one foot out. Fully, completely, with everything you have. Because half commitments produce half results, and you, Capricorn, did not come this far to settle for half. Let me tell you something about commitment that most people do not understand. Commitment is not a feeling. It is not something you wait to feel before you act. Commitment is a decision you make, and then you back it up with action, regardless of how you feel in the moment. There will be mornings this week when you wake up and doubt your decision. There will be moments when the old fears creep back in and whisper that you made a mistake. There will be people around you who do not understand why you are doing what you are doing. And in those moments, your commitment is what carries you through. Not your feelings, not your confidence, your commitment. Think about the most successful people you have ever known or heard about. They did not get where they are because they always felt confident. They got there because they committed to a path and refused to abandon it when things got hard. They understood that doubt is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. Doubt is a sign that you are on a path that matters. Because we do not doubt things we do not care about. We only doubt the things that are important enough to be scary. And if the decision you are making this week scares you a little good, that means it matters. That means it has the power to change your life. Here is the thing about looking back. Every time you look back, you lose momentum. Every time you second-guess your decision, you weaken your resolve. Every time you revisit the reasons why you should not have made the choice you made, you take energy away from the reasons why you should have. And you cannot afford to lose that energy this week. You need all of it moving forward. So once you make the decision, once you commit, close the door behind you. Do not leave it open just in case. Do not keep one eye on the exit. Walk through the door, close it, and put all of your focus on what is ahead of you. This does not mean you can never adjust your approach. Flexibility and commitment are not opposites. You can be fully committed to a destination while remaining flexible about the route. If something is not working, change the strategy, not the goal. If you hit an obstacle, find a way around it, not a way back. The decision you make this week is about the destination. A more secure, more protected, more intentional future. The path to get there may twist and turn, and that is fine. What matters is that you keep moving forward. I want you to do something right now. I want you to think about the decision you have been circling around. The one that has been on your mind through every section of this message. The one that your heart keeps pointing toward, even when your mind tries to talk you out of it. And I want you to make it. Right now. In this moment. Say it out loud if you need to. Write it down if that helps. Tell someone you trust. But make the decision and then commit to it with everything you have. Because this week, Capricorn, the universe is not just supporting your decision. It is waiting for it. It has been aligning circumstances, clearing obstacles, and positioning opportunities specifically for this moment. All it needs from you now is the commitment. Give it that and watch what happens next. Capricorn, as we come to the end of this message, I want you to take a deep breath. A real one. The kind that fills you all the way down and reminds you that you are alive, you are here, and you are capable of anything you set your mind to. Everything we have talked about today. The readiness, the momentum, the energy protection, the conversations, the finances, the health, the surrender, the relationships, the stillness, and the commitment. All of it has been leading you to one truth. You have the power to protect your future. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Right now. This week. I know the world can feel overwhelming sometimes. I know there are days when the weight of everything feels too heavy and the path ahead feels unclear. But those feelings are not the truth of who you are. They are just clouds passing through your sky. And behind those clouds, your sky is vast and filled with more possibility than you can imagine right now. You just have to keep going. Keep showing up. Keep making the small, powerful choices that compound over time into a life you are proud of. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be, arriving at exactly the right moment, with exactly the right amount of strength to do what needs to be done. The fact that you are still here, still listening, still open, tells me you are serious, tells me you are ready. And the decision you make this week is going to be one of the best decisions you have ever made. So go forward, Capricorn. Go forward with confidence, with clarity, with the knowing that the universe has your back. This is your week. This is your moment. Trust yourself. Trust the process. And remember, the future you are protecting is not just your own. It is the future of everyone who loves you and everyone whose life is better because you are in it. Protect that future fiercely, wisely, and starting right now. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift. Or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.